The King of the Box podcast is not a form of therapy. It's an opportunity to learn about men's mental health, explore available resources, and better understand how to embrace your own personal challenges. Please respect differing opinions and remember the importance of agreeing to disagree.
I was a mess. I was like telling her, like, I feel like I look disgusting. I feel like I look like no one wants to look at me right now, you know what I mean? It's like, but you know what you have that most men don't is a good heart.
Now, after a lot of conversations with people I really admire, and I think I've shifted the way I see this idea of courage. It's not that we don't feel fear, it's that we feel the presence of fear and then choose to do the thing that scares us anyway.
The thing that you have to remind yourself is that comeback means even more. You know you have those strong values and you use that to boost you, you can go so far. Good, everybody. Welcome to the first ever episode of the podcast, King of the Box. I'm Darius Brown. I'm your host. Today, we're going to dive into the topic of men's mental health because this month in November, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness. So I want you to take accountability and think about the things that we talk about over this video, and I appreciate you tuning in. Before we get into that, I want to talk about King of the Box, and I want to talk a little bit about myself. So I'm Darius Brown. I'm a graduate assistant at the University of Colorado Springs. Growing up, this very kind lady named Miss Pat, rest in peace. When she was babysitting me, she would take me to Bible school. And so one of the days on the Sundays for Bible school, we had to dress up as somebody in the Bible. I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to dress up like, and then my great aunt and my mom helped me figure out a king named Darius. Actually, when I did a little bit more research, there's actually two Dariuses in the Bible. Darius the Mede and Darius the Great of Persia. They're depicted as good and fair and reasonable rulers. They're not perfect, and I feel like that's a good character for me because I'm not perfect. We're human beings. We're not perfect people. And they are respectful of God and supportive of his people. So that's something I always loved, and that king part always stuck with me. Like I use it for my Xbox gamer tags. I use it for almost like my Instagram. All my different things got king in it just because I try to strive to have that like king mentality because I want to be able to help the people around me. We're going to get into this podcast. Trust me, like, subscribe, and I hope you like it. Appreciate it. You all have got the look-alike. Like, who's your look-alike? Who do people say you look like?
My doppelganger? Oof. You know, I've gotten, I don't know if any of you follow the NBA, but Zubac?
Yeah, I was thinking that myself.
I used to have a shaved head, so it was, the look-alike made more sense then, but...
And then you said Russell, right?
Yeah, Russell from Up. I was Monkey D. for Halloween, so everyone was like, you look so much like him. Or Josh Peck from Drake and Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, which, funny enough, I actually met Josh Peck when he came to UCCS
he
campus.
did come here.
I have a picture with him, and it's the wallpaper for my computer now.
No way.
And like, I grew up watching Josh Peck my whole life, and I'm like, oh my god, like look at, like, I look to my mom, I'm like, look, another gordito, like another, you know, a bigger person like me, you know, like making it big in Hollywood, you know, so like, he's my big inspiration. That's why I became a writer in the first place, you know, wanting to, you know, make my mark in like the Hollywood scene, if you make sense, you know, I guess it's like, oh yeah, I look like this, he looks like that, you know, we can make it, you know.
Yeah, very cool. How about you, EJ?
Man, I'd say, I'm going to just say my dad. I look like a lot like mine.
The same, actually. I changed my answer.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, my dad, but when I have my hair braided, and or when I have it out in the afro, like when it's all blown out, my friends all say I look like Riley and Huey from Boondocks.
From Boondocks, yeah. I'd probably say...
Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, Michael B. You know, my mom and my dad, and then I used to get Spencer James from All American. You guys have seen that show? And then I've also gotten, I look like I'm one of LeBron's kids. Like I look like
Like Bronny?
Yeah, my sister used to say I look like Bronny, so I was like, I don't know how I look like someone younger than me, but it works out. But So we start with a check-in question because we want to regularize, like make that normal of like checking in with each other, seeing how everybody's doing. So whoever wants to start, they can start.
For me, I've had an eventful month and a half, but doing things like this that are genuine with good people, has made it way easier and allowing myself to kind of open up and just talk to people, not even in just something like this, but casually with all of my friends, like even the friends I've grown up with. So
what can I say? It's also been a busy month. I'm sure we'll get into intros, but I work at the counseling center here on campus, and there's a lot of people struggling right now. It's a hard time for a lot of people, so it's been heavy, but it's also really cool. I'm really excited to be here and be part of this project. I think it's much needed, and I'm honored that I was invited to be a part of it. So thank y'all for letting me be here. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so I'm graduating in December, so it's been a pretty interesting semester, you know what I mean? Just last semester ever of college, and just, like the idea of like, okay, I'm going to go from college or like being in school for like 16 plus years of my life to like the real world, it's like being pushed, you know what I mean? Like, I guess being thrown into the real world is kind of like being pushed into traffic, you know what I mean? Like, you never know what's coming, you know what I mean? Things are going to be being thrown at you really quickly, and so just like prepping myself mentally for that and just, enjoying my time here, you know what I mean? And I guess I'm just very honored to be here as well, speaking in this podcast,
I'm also graduating pretty soon too, and so I think just the stress with what my future is going to look like after college has been on my mind lately. But as of right now, I feel like I'm doing a lot of things that really to just take care of myself and to really things that I actually enjoy. That is obviously speaking here or being involved in these type of projects. So I'm pretty good.
Yeah. I'd say I'm good. Kind of what we talked about earlier was like that reflection piece. That's kind of where I'm at right now is I see where I've come from and I want to try to work on where I'm going. And so it's just been kind of thinking lately like, man, I was just in high school like 6 years ago and now I'm in grad school. Or like I just graduated in like my undergrad in May and now I'm in grad school. And then I get to do cool things like this. And even like the big reflection piece for me lately is like the business. Like I was in business, I was a sport management major, and now I'm in health promotion. And I learned far different things. Like it's been a cool experience. And I have this feeling of like, you have your good and your bad days, but I have a feeling like I'm actually going places I want to be. So yeah.
That's cool. I relate to that too. I studied business in undergrad and decided to do grad school in psychology. So I'm curious to hear like that shift for you. And
huge difference. Just like the whole thing of like in business, I mean, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but in business we talk a lot about like money and like management, and like we do have that small part where we're talking about like HR and working with people and building like diverse networks and all those things, but I just didn't feel like I was helping people. And so something I talked about earlier was with my mom, I'm very much my mother's child. She's been in social work for 20 plus years. And so taking that from her, I was like, I would love to make money. Who doesn't want to get rich, And so I was like, I want to be able to help people. Like, especially, I would love to still work in sport, but I want to be able to help people on and off the field. So, and like with that sports stuff, it's like we do a lot of cruel and amazing things. Like I've done some cool things. I got to work at a USA boxing event, and the winners to that got to go perform at the Olympics. So like I've done cool things, but I didn't feel like that helping piece like I do now. And so it's just been like a huge like, wow, like I'm helping people. I've been like, haven't even been here less than a couple months. I started in August, and I feel like I've helped so many people already. And one thing been telling myself every day, and even with this podcast, is 1% every day. Try to do 1% of doing better every day, or helping out 1% of a person every day. And so that's been like my big difference between like the business and then the health.
Yeah. I relate to that,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and just kind of, what do you do? Like, what's your role?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jeff. I am a therapist here at the University Counseling Center, Wellness Center. I am currently considered an intern, so I'm in the last year of my doctorate program in clinical psychology. I go to school at University of Denver, but moved to Colorado Springs for this job full time. And yeah, I really love, like I said, I really resonate with what you were saying. I love the work that I do because I get to build strong relationships with people and help support them, help guide them to move towards their own goals, to help them find a deeper sense of connection with themselves, with others. And coming from a business background previously, where I felt like a lot of my work didn't fill my cup, it didn't feel super meaningful. I think that was something that took me a while to like figure out what is the path that is going to, allow me to provide for myself financially. We still want to make money to a certain extent, but that, I think for me, I realized isn't my primary motivation. So yeah, it's been cool to be on this journey and now to be close to the end of my graduate program, and having just a better sense of like what I want to do in my career. It's sort of a like calming feeling to have some of that figured out. But I also appreciate where y'all are at graduating. Like that's a stressful time, a lot of unknowns entering the world outside of college, and it took me a while to figure out. So I also am curious for you guys if you feel like a sense of pressure to have to figure that out sooner rather than later.
I mean, I can speak on it too, just because I just made the transition that you guys are gonna make. I felt very anxious just because I was like, for me, I applied to DU because my mom went to DU. So like, I was like, I'm gonna go to grad school at DU. And then that kind of failed out for me, and I was like, well, what do I do now? And luckily, it's important for you guys to find that mentor, find that somebody, especially here, to be able to help guide you, because I had two amazing people here that helped me like figure out like, why not just apply here? And then you get to work with these cool and very nice people, and like, I know you thought about leaving here, like leaving the Springs for a little bit, but like, why not stay? And you kind of know the world, like how it is around you and stuff. So for me, it was like finding that person to help me like get through it. So instead of it like bottling it up in my head. And so that's kind of what I took away from that. So like, I would say for you guys that like, it's coming up to those years of you graduating, find that person. Like, I'm more than welcome to help you be that guy too. But like, finding that person that can help you so you're not just talking it all out in your head is like what really helped me get to that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. For me at least, there is definitely a lot of pressure. I think it's more of, just figuring out, what I want to do and what I will truly find fulfillment in, and kind of like how you said, a place that really fills my cup, but also like a space and place where I can thrive, I can grow, and also either like gain an education or gain a steady income. So there's a lot of different factors in this. I think for me, at this point, I'm just trying to kind of stay in the present, obviously having it in the back of my mind that, it's kind of coming up, but really enjoying these times. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with EJ. Like, definitely the idea of like me moving back home and like being with family again, having a home cooked meal again, and stuff like that. And like I'm very excited to go back. At the same time, like I mentioned, like having everything coming at you so quickly, and it's like, well, you're gonna be expected to have to apply for your health insurance eventually, or like learning how to drive, because I don't have a license right now, so it's learning how to do those responsibilities, or like finding a way to put food on the table and everything like that. And so, yeah, definitely I like thought like, okay, what if I do stay in Colorado Springs, but then I like realized, you know what, I'm just feel like I'm not myself here, really. I feel like I'm a Denver boy through and through. Like, I'm from Aurora, so I'm like, I need to go back home, you know what I mean, to be with my people, you know, just like really just like figure out who I am outside of that as well, and stuff like that, outside like that marginalized community, just understand my own identity as a person. And so I think it's very important that I grow into that after graduating, and just really just like, who am I not as a student, you know? Like, like who am I as an actual human?
Sense of identity.
Exactly. So that's why I'm really excited to, I guess, graduate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is bittersweet because I've, as Ariel said, you have to find a mentor here. I have a mentor, and she's the most amazing person I've like gotten to know. Like here, like she's like the reason why I got into like writing in the first place. Like I wouldn't have been where I am right now on my writing journey as an author without her. So like shout out to her and everything. But it's time for me to make my own path, you know, outside of the Springs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say for me, pretty much the same thing that you all touched on. I know I've been working with my mentor, one of my mentors, to try and open a charter school in Denver, and that's something that when I first started working with him on, I wasn't very sure if that's what I wanted. Being a teacher, you know, that's not exactly a high demand job, I guess you could say. So I wanted to make sure that's where my passion was at. And when I found myself struggling and first coming to the wellness center and talking about things and joining volunteer groups or clubs like Peak to do some of the work that we do, it kind of just made it clear for me that something like that and doing things like this that every day can try and help somebody just feel a little bit better for however long that looks like, just so it could help support them as they are looking to grow in their own life.
I think it's that like sense of finding your worth within you. So like I want to ask you, since like this is like your role, so like if you saw a young man trying to figure out like his worth, like how do you help him find his worth within himself?
Yeah, I think good question. I think it depends. It differs from person to person, but I think especially as a student, it can be really hard, and even later in life, it can be hard to identify like what are my sort of guiding values, what is really important for the type of person I want to continue to become versus all these different external influences that tell us who we're supposed to be. Whether that's coming from family, whether that's coming from culture, whether that's coming from, your friend group. I think it's really easy to, lead your life in a way that is strongly shaped and influenced by others' opinions. And I mean, it's important to take that into consideration, but I think trying to decipher, like, what values feel essential to who I am and who I want to be, and sort of are there values that I hold that have been, like, imposed that maybe don't really serve me anymore. So I do a lot of work with clients and men specifically around trying to identify, like, what are their central values, and then using that almost as like a compass to guide their sort of like how they interact with the world on a day-to-day basis.
And I think that even goes into the whole thing of like, you create these values over time, and like you do have setbacks in life. Like that's the reality of it. You have a setback, but like the thing that you have to remind yourself is that comeback means even more. And like if you coming back and you have those strong values and you use that to boost you, you can go so far.
Yeah, totally. I think that's such a good point. I think about your values, your system of values almost as like an anchor. When, shit is going to happen in life. There are going to be setbacks. You're going to go through storms. And what's that thing that's going to like ground you and keep you stable amidst the storm so you can wait for it to pass? And I think having a clear sense of, who I want to be, what direction I want to move towards really can help you weather some of that storm, if you will.
100%. And so I kind of want to ask you, just because this is something I just recently experienced in the health realm, is that a couple weeks ago, we covered health disparities. And so that's something like, when you're a business guy, like you don't see these things. Like you don't see the statistics on people, like the way people are dying, and these statistics on like people are not taking care of themselves, or men aren't taking care of themselves, and that whole thing of the stigma of you got to toughen up, you can't be soft, you got to put on a face, you got to take care of the family, you got to be the man of the house, you got to do all these different things. So like when you got that level of adversity, like what would you tell somebody to kind of combat that?
The first part is maybe to just like try and be curious about all these different messages that we do experience. Like I think it can be hard to, like, the idea that we as men are supposed to be tough, not show emotions. I think we get that message from all sorts of places, but I think that can create a lot of suffering for people when they aren't able to identify that this is not the only way to be as a man, and this doesn't necessarily make you more of a man. To be able to like recognize that those are sort of beliefs or messages that have been given to us, and it's hard work to like unlearn that and choose to maybe be different. But I think an important first step is recognizing that this isn't necessarily like truth. This is something I can choose to respond differently to if I'm aware of it.
Yeah. I think one of the things, because I was just having a conversation with my friend the other day, and I was like, just feel how you feel. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, if you gotta cry, just cry. If you gotta be angry, just be angry. Because once you get through that, and you can figure out like, okay, maybe I need therapy, or maybe I need to go on a walk, or I need to do these certain things to make you kind of evolve from that. You do so much better, and you can go places with that instead of just bottling it up. Because if you keep it in, it's like, you're gonna hold that in, and you're gonna eventually pop,
create more issues for you in the long run. Totally, yeah. One thing I will add that I think is important to say is, we can't always be emotional, share emotions in every single context, which is why I think having a mentor, or having friendships or relationships where you're allowed to show up emotionally and vulnerably is so important. Because I think, there are times where maybe it's not, that's not, I don't want to say the appropriate response, but maybe it doesn't feel super safe to do that. So I think that's why it makes it all the more important to have certain spaces. Therapy can be one of them. Yeah. I'm biased as a therapist, but I think finding those relationships, those places where you can, lean into what it means to be an emotional human being.
And I just kind of love to open up, like, maybe, like, you don't have to say their name, but, like, maybe everyone goes around and says, like, talks about a person that you can think of that's helped you grow. Maybe, like, a male role model, or somebody that, like, it doesn't even have to be, like, a dad, or it could be anybody you want. Like, who's somebody, it could be an influencer, or it could be someone you saw over the TV. Like, who's someone that you saw that, like, man, like, I like what they're saying, and this is making me want to grow.
For me, obviously my dad, I'm very close with my dad, so that's always been someone who, just seeing how he handles himself, and even though he's not a very expressive person, him growing with me, you know, I'd say, and like with everyone else as a person, of like we could have those tough conversations sometimes, you know. We could have, like, I could express frustrations and it could just be that. And I've learned to understand, and I continue to, as I grow, understand that you can't always talk about it and immediately get better. You know, sometimes you have to talk about it and you, like you were saying, realize what's important to you. What gives you fulfillment in life, you know? What things, like, where do you want to be? Like, you want to be in Denver. So for me, like, going through that and understanding, I always want to be helping somebody. And right now that looks like trying to open an amazing, you know, charter school, and understanding that sometimes, you know, I struggle and I can't always just let it be that. And it's okay when it is, you know, I don't have to force myself to feel better. I don't have to force myself to do something that I maybe feel like I might have to enjoy. You know, I can let myself feel whatever I do and slowly just realize in that moment what's next. And if I don't know, like, that's okay. And to just enjoy some of those periods of the small things when you can't figure out what exactly is going on.
I think for me, very well said. I think for me, number one, it has to be God, but also my parents. I too are very close with my parents, and I think the past few years we just strengthened our relationship to the point where I can tell them anything, you know, what's on my mind, you know, how I feel emotions-wise. And so I think, kind of like how you said, it's so important and influential to really have someone that you can just be real with, honestly, that you can express yourself without feeling like, you know, oh, am I repeating it again? Am I, you know, doing too much? You know, I think there's something with just being real with someone and feeling heard. And
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely my mom. Like, I'm such a mama's boy. Like, both of my parents have given me, like, everything. I'm grateful for both of them. Like, my dad came all the way from the country just, you know, be able to raise 3 boys with my mom and everything, not knowing the language, like, you know. But I think my mom, like, she really just, like, I remember during a really, like, tough time in my life, like, I think it was, like, a few months ago, where it was, like, I remember, like, on the phone with her, just, like, I was a mess. I was, like, telling her, like, I don't even want to leave my room right now because I feel like I feel like I look disgusting. I feel like I look like no one wants to look at me right now, you know what I mean? Because, like, and she, like, told me, she, like, well, you might have a big belly, you might have stretch marks right now, you know, you may, like, it's like, but you know, what you have that most men don't is a good heart. Like you're one of, like, the nicest people I've ever known, son. I've known a lot of people in my whole, like, she's, like, in her 50s right now. She's, like, so obviously that's a long time to know people and stuff like that. She's, like, you're, like, you're so sincere, like, you're so naturally good and stuff like that. Like, you're going to help a lot of people, but just remember you have to learn how to help yourself before you can do that, you know? So that's honestly one of the reasons why I actually started going to therapy, because I have to remember, like, you know, I have to conquer the world, you know what I mean? I may feel the way I feel some days, you know, but I still pull myself by the bootstraps, like, literally, because I, like, to wear boots more than anything, so I actually have boots, and just, you know, tell myself, like, you know what, like, I'm a good person, you know what I mean, I'm gonna make sure I make someone else's day better, you know what I mean, by just me talking to them, making them laugh and stuff like that. I mean, just recently someone told me, like, oh my god, every time you go to the dining hall, I love talking to you. And I'm like, yay. You know, but my mom's advice really just made me realize like how much value I have as a person, like how much influence I have really naturally, you know, even when I'm at my lowest, you know.
Yeah. My turn.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to identify like one central figure in my life.
I agree.
I've had a lot of like really impactful teachers, and as I've been, you know, training to become a psychologist, a lot of amazing supervisors and mentors that I've learned a lot of different things from. I guess one of the things which kind of relates to some of the things some of you have already touched on is just the idea of like what courage means. And I think I used to view courage as like being able to not let things get to you. Like I can go do something that would scare me, and I don't feel afraid, right? Where now, after a lot of like conversations with people I really admire and have a lot of trust in, I think I've shifted the way I see this idea of courage as like it sounds kind of corny, but like it's not that we don't feel fear, it's that we feel the presence of fear and then choose to do the thing that scares us anyway. Mm-hmm. I think that's been a big shift in my life too, because it makes it so that, you know, when we do feel things, whether it's fear, whether it's joy, whether it's sadness, it's not a signal that we need to jump in and immediately fix it, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that's asking to be felt and experienced, and I think the more that we're able to do that, the more that we're able to be with ourselves, the less scary emotions feel, the more we develop a sense of trust in ourselves to do hard things. So, I've had a lot of really, really impactful relationships and conversations around this topic in particular, but others as well. I owe a lot of where I am now to a lot of those people.
I mean, I agree. I got so many people, like with Ethan, like, you know, for me and like just in my personal life, like God does come first to me. And then after that, like my mom, I'm going to talk about her a billion times, but like she really did, she did so much for me, raising me as a single black mother. And so her, and then like I love the story of Jackie Robinson, especially for me, like born and raised in Colorado, and I was either one or two, like of like the only black kids on the team, on my baseball team growing up. And then, so like I've always loved that story, and I've been able to like apply that to myself. Chadwick Boseman, oh my gosh, I love that dude. Like I got a Wakanda tattoo on my leg, like just like, you know, even he played in like the movie 42, and then like the movie like Black Panther, the first black superhero movie to hit the movies. Like for me, like I just look at him and I look at the things he accomplished, and even like hearing stories of like how his work ethic and how hard he worked for his roles, or like those are like the two big people I think about all the time, of like, man, like these two people like battled adversity and they went places. And then probably a very big supporter for me is my uncle. He is a U.S. Marshal, and he lives in California, so I always love to say California is my second home. Like I have like baby pictures of me in the stroller, just us walking around like the beach and stuff. And so for him, looking at him, like high school, my senior year was the COVID year. So like we went back in after that. And so for football, it was a 5-game season, and that was probably the worst football season I ever had. And so I just didn't think I was going to get into football anywhere. And then for baseball, it's like we had a good season, but I graduated before our baseball season was over. Like our last game, we had a doubleheader, which for those that don't know, it's 2 games back to back. And so we wore black jerseys. So it was like 105 degrees outside. So I'm like about to pass out. And so I kind of had a feeling that baseball wasn't really going to go anywhere for me either. And so I kind of hit like a low of like, I don't know what to do. And I told my uncle that. I was like, I do not know where I want to go. And he's like, okay, listen, you got some options. You can either go to the military, because I was considering going to the Air Force, because it's like, if I do like 4 years in the Air Force, I could just, you know, get my school paid for. I don't have to worry about finances. And then he's like, you could do that, or you could go to school and get an education. And so it really honestly took it to me and my mom sitting on the couch watching a Air Force video, and I think I saw like a sergeant spit in a dude's face, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to college. So, but like him giving me that is something I've like appreciated, and that's like someone, that's like a man in my life, especially with my dad not always there. That's someone I know I can call. I could call him right now. He'll answer, and then he could give me the realest life advice. And even going into college, I thought I was going to be a criminal justice major, and so because I wanted to be exactly like him, I wanted to be a U.S. Marshal. I wanted to fill his shoes, and he was the one that really told me, it's like, you know, I'd love you to be like me, but like, I want you to be you. I want you to go figure out what you is. And so that is probably the person that was like so like instrumental in like these later parts of my life, because he's just taught me so much, and he's going to continue teaching me a lot. So kind of shifting onto like a legacy piece. So where's like, what's like your end goal? Like, what's something you want to accomplish, like that you've been kind of think about? Like, I know that's a big question, but like I asked this during my interview for my GA spot. It was like, what's like a legacy piece for you? Like, what's something you want to leave behind?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Do you mean like professionally, personally, or just take it however
You could do both if you want.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have certain like career aspirations down the road. I like the idea of starting like a training institute for aspiring therapists and clinicians. So I guess I could share that, but I also think more about like the idea of legacy in terms of like when you're on your deathbed, you know, and you're reflecting on how you lived your life. And I think there's a lot of research that shows the thing that comes up most often is not what people don't regret what they did do, they regret what they didn't do. So I think about that a lot, and how that influences the way I try and live my life, like doing things that I know future Jeff is gonna look back on fondly. But I think, to answer the question and not beat around it, I think with legacy, what is most important when I, reflect on my life is the way I made other people feel. I think it's really important to me, like professionally and personally, to make people feel like they can show up authentically, like they can be who they are without fear of being judged. And I think, hopefully at my funeral, that's one of the things people will say about me is we felt like seen and really truly understood by this dude. So that's what I hope for.
I love that. That's a good one. That's good. That was a great answer. Well, I want to leave off on a fun question that we can all answer, since we, like we don't have to always stay on the deep.
Yeah.
But the fun question would be, let's think, what's your favorite movie? We're going icebreaker questions. What's a tough movie? Ooh. You could say like multiple too if it comes to it, but I know that's a hard question.
Look at you dropping the remote. Come on,
at least I don't lose it, man. At home, I lose the remote all the time. I gotta fight to look. I need to put an air tag on my remote at home.
I'm the same with my keys.
I'm sure. I think as a kid, I'd probably say Transformers, because
the original.
Yeah, like prime Megan Fox, you know. But you know, I always loved Bumblebee. Like one of the things I want to do if I make make money, is I'd love to rebuild like the Bumblebee car.
Oh,
Like that would be so sick to me.
the yellow Camaro.
Yeah, the yellow Camaro, and then like I saw this dude on YouTube. He had like the whole emblem in like the back of the head of the seat, and like all these different things. I was like, man, that'd be cool. I'd build that.
It was very funny. This is more of a tangent, but like I remember we were like driving, me and my family, all the way to Manistee Springs, and we saw like a giant bumblebee sculpture. And my mom, she's so adorable. She's like, "Oh wait, Miko, was that the toys you used to play with when you were a kid?" I'm like, "Those were Power Rangers." The Megazord's a completely different thing than Transformers.
Mom, get it right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm 22 years old and I still love Power Rangers.
That was my dream job growing up. Like I was like, I want to be a Power Ranger. You know? I want to have the tight spandex. Mm-hmm. I couldn't now, honestly. I get so tired. I don't know what's going on. I have like fatigue or something.
I get you. Anyone with you?
Revenge of the Sith. I'm a Star Wars nerd, you know. Like even now, I remember growing up when I would be with my dad hanging out, and I used to always ask him to put it on, and we had the disc just on repeat, just over and over and over, and he'd sit there with me and read his book, even though he'd be missing a Yankee game, or he'd go watch it in his room for a little bit and come back, and I'd still just be watching that over. And those were some of my best memories, I guess you could say. And then, like, even now, with some of my friends who I grew up with, like, playing different Star Wars games still, every once or twice every week or here and there, throughout the month when we're all free or when whoever's free. Letting ourselves still just have fun, hang out, do things. It doesn't matter how old we are, we can still enjoy things that, we've always liked.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Actor? Mr. Mr. Indie Film?
Oh, man.
Mr. Big Guy?
Mr. Big?
Guys, stop.
Oh,
No, for me, I've always loved the Karate Kid. I think the whole story, it's always been inspiring for me, to, like...
How you feeling about the Jaden one?
Ooh, I like that one too, honestly. But I grew up watching the one back in the 80s.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
that has always been a classic
fire.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, super inspiring.
Yeah. For me, I have two. So, obviously X-Men. Shout out to the Wolverine hat. Because Wolverine's my boy. No, I love the X-Men films. That's where I got into, like, the whole superhero, like, thing and stuff like that. I'm actually a screenwriter, and I'm working on a project that involves superheroes. So I'm like, oh, that's where it all started, you know what I mean? So it's really fun that, like, I absolutely love the X-Men films. I love the idea of, like, these individuals who are from, like, very diverse backgrounds, like, very marginalized communities. Well, in this instance, they're mutants, so they're, freaks of nature, what they're called. And, like, them being like, yeah, so, like, we're not the bad guys. We actually make sure the bad guys don't, F it up for the rest of us. That's where I love the films and stuff like that. And, like, I can relate to it a lot as, like, someone in the Hispanic community. It's very, like, well, I've been told before, like, oh, Mexicans are very aggressive people. They're very angry. And I'm like, not all of us. So... And then Hunger Games. I really like something about, like, the whole, like, fighting for what you believe in and just, rebelling against the society and, just, being such a badass. I loved Jennifer Lawrence, I loved the books more, to be quite honest, but the movie was lit. I really loved the movie series. So those are, like, my go-tos. Like, that's my comfort movie. It's like, that's a weird comfort movie to have. But I still watch all the time.
Nice. Hard question, as you already acknowledged. But what's coming to mind for me is, I'm not sure if y'all are going to be familiar with it, but it's called I Love You Man.
Yes.
with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel.
Yep. That movie is fire.
Yeah. So it's just fucking hilarious. And I think the first time I saw it, I was maybe freshman year of high school, and me and all my friends, for whatever reason, this just the type of humor in the movie really resonated with us, and it's one of the most quotable movies of all time. So I still will reference silly little things that happen in that movie with my friends to this date. So it's nostalgic, but also anytime I rewatch it, I remember why this was such a good movie. Sometimes you just need a good laugh too.
Yeah.
So that always
100%.
provides.
100%. I think I said mine as a kid, so probably right now off the top of my head today, probably say one of the Spider-Verse movies, Miles Morales, because, I got that tatted on me too, a big nerd. But the thing I love about it is the soundtrack, first of all. Both of them are crazy good. And then I love the story, he's someone that looks like me, talks like me, dresses like me, and, he's trying to figure out how to be Spider-Man, and this iconic superhero. And he's trying to figure that and what it means to himself. And so that's something I've always loved about him and that character. And then even Black Panther, I love that. So they got the nerd leg going, and I'm supposed to get a tattoo next week, so we're gonna keep it going.
Nice.
So, but thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great to be here with you all, and
Good talking to you.
yeah, I hope continue to see what direction your journeys take. And thank you for including me in this. This has been great.
Appreciate it. Jeez, that's fun.